Hi, I'm Michael Gundling, and I'm a former foster child. I was in foster care for 5 years, from 1990 to 1995, upon which that year I was adopted by the same foster family there in Houston, Texas. And I'm currently a youth and college minister in Lubbock, Texas. So that's what I do, and that's who I am. In 1990, I was born weighing 1 pound. I had a couple of siblings that came into the picture as well. One of them was with the current foster family that I went to stay with, and then they took me in a year or so later. My brother was born, and they took him in as well. But in 1995, we were officially adopted by family Steve and Kathy Gundling, upon which, when that happened, myself and my siblings became the first African-American children to be adopted by Caucasians through the state of Texas. And so as I was a kid, I think you're just a child, you don't really see color, you don't really see too many of the situations. We were in a good home, a safe place. Lots of kids were around us all the time because of the amount of foster care that they were doing, so it felt like we were just with a bunch of kids every day. But it wasn't until I got older that I began to understand that there was some things that were different, and there was some challenges that would have to be overcome. As far as my respect towards other foster parents and families, I have the utmost respect. I see them as some of the greatest heroes on the face of the earth because they've chosen to take someone else's life and make it a part of theirs and raise them up to be men and women of society that can make a difference in the world. And it's a big thing. I know that my life personally, my parents literally started a whole new generation of kids that they raised, because they had kids that were already older, that were growing, that were teenagers by the time we came into the picture. And so even at the age they were 40, in their age of 40, when they started this journey with us, they stepped in and took that challenge, understanding that they were going to face prejudices, whether it was racial, whether it was, oh, well, you guys are a little bit too old to do this, or, you know, what are you thinking? Why are you trying to take care of these little kids? Why don't you let somebody else do it? But it's just something that I believe that it's necessary. I know that, you know, I believe, you know, as a religious and as a Christian, you know, it's biblical that, you know, you got to look after the orphans and the widows and make sure that they are taken care of. And I believe that it's something that every person ought to be mandated to, whether you are directly involved or indirectly involved. Everyone should be aware of foster care. I look at, you know, you see the commercials on TV about the kids in Africa, and you call this phone number and you can go and send this money to this kid. But we are no different than the kids in Africa. We just have a system name called foster care over it, but it's still orphans. It's still people that need a home. It's still kids that need to be given a chance at life. And the name and the title doesn't change the reality of the situation and the necessity that is needed for foster parents today. Foster kids, the feeling of being a foster kid is it's interesting, because again, you know that's not your parents, and you know, okay, this is not the way it was supposed to be. And so it's hard because you feel an emptiness inside. I describe this like this, you know, when you were born to a mother and a father, that child is naturally connected to that mother and to that father. And so when that connection is cut off, or when that connection doesn't exist, you have an emptiness inside. And even if that void is filled from other people, in a lot of ways through foster care, it's filled very well through other people, it's still a very difficult thing to walk through and to deal with. So you feel a lot of loneliness, you feel a lot of rejection, you feel a lot of anger, you have a lot of different emotional issues that you have to work through throughout your life. I know that as a young adult, I'm still working through things that I had to encounter as a child through foster care. So it's not easy, but it's best to be in that situation than to be in the situation you were in before you got there. I was in foster care for only 5 years, and this was the only family that I knew. So I felt accepted, physically accepted right away as a child, because they just welcomed me into their home. But it took me many, many years to accept that I was accepted in their family. It wasn't until probably right after I graduated from high school that I really caught and understood, okay, this is the way that it is, and I'm okay with that. You know, I'm okay with this being my family situation. I'm okay with how things have happened, and I'm gonna live it out. I'm gonna wear it. I'm gonna represent it, and I'm not gonna let the differences or the difficult circumstances that we walk through dictate how I live my life and the future that I seek. If I could say anything to the foster children of this specific state, I think the biggest thing I would say is to not allow yourself to be so consumed with the here and now and be so consumed with yourself that you forget to see the big picture. That just because you're not where you want to be and you're not with who you want to be doesn't mean that your life has no purpose, and doesn't mean that you can't do something with your life. Don't listen to the things that the people on the outside tell you, that you're not good enough, you're not worth it, that you can't do it, because I'm living proof, you know, that anything and everything is possible if you believe in yourself and if you follow the truth that people tell you. You know, you can do anything, and that the people that are with you, the foster parents that are there with you, are not there to harm you, they're not there to hurt you, they're there to make you better. Listen, we need to get these kids into a place that they need to be, and we need to do it in a way that's going to be holistically great for them. Not just, here's a home for you, but let's put you in a place where you can grow and become the best person you can be, whether you have cerebral palsy, whether you have ADHD, or whether you're completely normal, and all the things in between. Just being able to open up a doorway of understanding that this is an urgent situation, and that there are people like myself that grew up through this situation that can become the next president of the United States, that can become something that's going to make a difference. I was able to graduate from high school a year early at the age of 17 because of being homeschooled. And then I went off to Bible college and seminary school and began studying that stuff. And graduated there in 3 years in 2012 of December. So since then, I've just been, you know, putting the pieces together and figuring out where the next places are in life. And currently, I'm serving at a church in Lubbock, Texas as a youth and college minister, just trying to give back to students and pour into lives that way.